In this video, I'm going to be discussing how to use percentages and how to calculate basic percentages. Now, the main thing you need to know when you are working with percentages is this nice little proportion here. Now, the proportion is this: part over whole equals percent over 100. If you know this proportion, you can solve any type of percent problem. And so what I'm going to do in this video is go through just one example of how to use this in an application, or in a problem, let's say. So here's the problem. What percent of 56 is 42? Now the trick for these problems is figuring out what is the part, what is the whole, what is the percentage, because really the only number we have is 100. So I have to figure out what's the part, whole, and percentage. Well, let's see. What percentage of 56 is 42? So there are some key words here that kind of indicate what's the part, what's the whole, what is the percentage. First of all, this word, of. The word of references the whole. So whenever I see of something, that is typically our whole. So when I set up this proportion, I'm going to have 56 on the bottom. Now, the other word that's really important when I'm looking at percent problems is the word is. Now, the word is refers to the parts. So my part here is 46. Now, in the problem, we are looking for the percentage. Here it says what percent. So that means I'm going to replace my percentage with a variable. And, oh, it's not 46, I'm sorry, it's 42. There we go. So I replaced my percentage with an x. And so now I'm going to solve this like I would any other proportion. So I'm going to start by drawing my brick wall, and I'm going to run out of room here, and I cross multiply. So I do 56 times x, so 56x equals 42, you got it right now, times 100, so that'd be 4200. And then we have to finish. We do 4200 divided by 56. So divide by 56. And we get the value x equals 75. So what that tells me, what percent of 56 is 42? Well, the answer is 75. So it's 75%. So 42 is 75% of 56. Let's try another one. A little bit different, but Steve received 20 out of a possible 30 points on a quiz. What percentage does Steve earn on the quiz? Now this is also a percentage problem. So I'm going to use my part over whole equals percent over 100. Now another way we could write this is we could write this as is over of equals percent over 100. So I'm using those keywords maybe instead of part over whole. So let's give this a go. So I've got, talking about Steve, I'm looking for the percentage. The problem says, what percentage? So I know that this is going to be a variable. I'm going to have x over 100. Now I have to figure out where the 20 and the 30 go. Well, I do see one of my keywords. I see the word of. So when it's talking about of, Steve received 20 out of a possible 30. That tells me that 30 is my of. That is the whole. And I know then that 20 must be my part. If you think about it, it shouldn't be over 30 if we're talking about quizzes, unless there's extra credit. And so from here, we solve it. I draw my brick wall. Again, I'm going to run out of room here, so cross multiply. 20 times 100, so that would be 2000. Equals 30 times x, 30x. And I'm going to solve this. Divide by 30, divide by 30. And so I get x equals, let's put the exact amount here. So divide by 30, I get 66.67%. So unfortunately, Steve got a D. Maybe he needs to make sure he does his homework. So right below this, you see two problems. What I want you to do is I want you to pause the video, work these both out, and then I'll go through it here in just a minute. So let's solve these two problems. So I'm going to use a proportion again since I'm talking about percentages. And the nice thing about this one is I have my terms clearly defined. So 100 goes here. I have of 50, so I know that 50 is my whole, is 15. That means 15 is my part. And I'm looking for the percent. So I know I'm going to have x up here. So I'm going to go ahead and do my cross multiplication. So I'll do that over here. I'm going to have 1500 equals 50x. And go ahead, divide by 50, and I get a value x equals 30. So that means that 15 is 30% of 50. So when it's asking for an answer, we would say 30%. Let's try the next one. So Mary received 35 out of possible 40 points on a test. What percentage did she earn? So just like our last example, I set up my proportion. 100 goes here. I'm looking for the percentage, and I know that my whole, my of, is 40. So that means 35 goes up here. So I'm going to go ahead and cross multiply. So I get 3,500 equals 40x. Divide both sides by 40. Divide by 40. And Mary got an 87.5%. So she got a B. So that is the beginning on how to use this proportion, this formula, to solve percent problems.